Hello friends, I welcome you to yet another PDP session of Education Next. The agenda of the session today is to discuss on group discussions. Group discussion is a very important part of the selection, rather the elimination procedure of all the B schools that you may apply for. Right from the IIMs which take CAT scores to B schools like MDI Gurgaon, IMT Ghaziabad, which are CAT allied colleges, premier CAT allied colleges. Two, if you look at XLRI Jamshedpur, that takes ZAT scores, or any other taking B schools like Narsi Monji, which takes scores of Narsi Monji aptitude test. You have FMS, Delhi University, FMS conducts its own test. All these colleges definitely have group discussion as one of the most important parts of the elimination procedure. Some of the IIMs over the last couple of years have moved on to the other kind of group exercises like group activity. Some of them have been taking role plays, some of them have been doing case studies, but broadly all of them are based on the same pattern. The broad difference that you would see between a group discussion versus the other group activities is a group discussion is a discussion that is supposed to take place on a topic. On the other hand, group activity, role play, case study, in such all group exercises, you are provided with a particular situation. The broad idea remains the same. So before we move on to the other group exercises, it is important for us to understand thoroughly what group discussions are and what are the do's and don'ts, what are the tips, how should you manage yourself well in a group discussion. So we would discuss on group discussions in detail today. Starting with the features of a group discussion. So what is a GD? GD is a discussion on a particular topic which is assigned by the moderator by a group of people. Now see, size of the group may actually vary from B school to B school. Some of the colleges like Narsi Monji Mumbai have a bigger group size which is close to 16 to 18. Some other B schools on the other hand like FMS Delhi, XLRI Jamshedpur would give you a smaller batch size of around 10 to 12. In certain other cases it may even be around 8 to 10 also. So broadly if you see the size of the group would be somewhere between 8 to 15. The basic idea of making a group discussion is to exchange the thoughts, exchange the ideas. The moderator, the invigilator is trying to check you on your thought process. How do you actually arrive at a particular conclusion? What is the way your thinking process takes place? As I said, the size of the group may vary. On an average, you would find somewhere between 10 to 15 people participating in the formal group discussion that you are sitting in. It can be a topic, or as said earlier, it can be a situation. In case of a role play, a case study or a group task, they don't give you a topic, you are assigned with a situation. General duration which is there for a group discussion or the other group activity is close to some 8 to 15 minutes. As mentioned earlier, a group discussion is one of the most important elements in any sort of selection procedure of a B school. Now the criteria of assessment. What are the things that they actually look for when they are making group discussion in the candidates? The first and the foremost thing, how well do you communicate with others? Because the same thing you are going to apply in your practical life when you will be a part of the B school or when you would become a manager in future. It's very important to be good at interpersonal skills. You need to be a very good orator. Now see, oratory skills don't mean that you need to be a very fluent speaker. Some of you might be suffering from hindrance of communication, or you might have a little bit of hitch, some hesitation when you try to speak, but see, that's not an area of concern at all. When we say good communicator, we mean to say that whatever you speak, whatever you communicate, the other person should be able to understand it and vice versa. So it's basically a test of your communication skills and not on your accent or your fluency. The second criteria of assessment is your group dynamics. How well do you interact with other people? How well do you gel in a group? Your behavioral analysis, your interaction in group situations. Next, what comes, and one of the most important things, how open-minded are you? That's again a part of group dynamics. How do you cope with situations when you find aggressive people around you? Do you also become aggressive, or you maintain yourself calm and composed and you participate in the discussion? Do you give a chance to the other people also? Are you able to emerge as a leader or not? If not, how do you generally participate in the discussion? Your listening skills. Certainly one of the most important things. As mentioned in the first point, group discussion is a test of your communication. It's a test of your oratory skills. But communication cannot be complete without including your listening skills. Are you a candidate who's primarily involved in participation, over speaking, over participation, or do you listen to the other people or not? It's very important that you listen well. You try and grasp the ideas of other people. Next is, how do you present your ideas? Content, no doubt, is very important. But at the same time, it is important that how do you convey those ideas? How do you communicate those ideas to the other members of the group? Your leadership, your decision-making skills. As I said, there can be situations wherein you would find a lot of aggressive people around you. How do you try to lead the group? Are you able to give a direction to the group or not? Were you able to take decisions on right moments or not? Your analytical skills and subject knowledge. Subject knowledge, content, definitely one of the most important things. And your analytical skills. How well are you able to analyze the topic? Especially when you would find the topics are debatable or you are posed with some technical topic, it's important that you understand the entire topic well. Problem solving and critical thinking skills, followed by your attitude and confidence. Your confidence is reflected by a couple of things, like your communication firstly, secondly, your content, thirdly, your body language, your non-verbal communication. As most of the researchers say, most of the communication, around 55 to 60% of the communication takes place through non-verbal gestures and posture. So your confidence is also reflected by the non-verbal communication. Let's continue. Looking at a few do's and don'ts of group discussions. What are the things to be encouraged in group discussions, and what are the things that you should avoid as far as GDs are concerned? The first thing, it's important that you maintain an eye contact with all the other members of the group. Please avoid having an eye contact with the moderator. Remember, moderator is not a part of the GD. You should definitely avoid an eye contact with the moderator. Look into the eyes of all the other people who are sitting around you. Initiate the GD. I would definitely say it's a point which is high risk, high return factor. That means if you initiate the GD, and if you are able to initiate the GD well, that would definitely lead to giving you a few extra points. But on the other hand, you started the discussion, but you could not complete it properly, or you stumbled in between. That would prove to be a negative element also. As an initiator, it is your responsibility to give a structure to the entire discussion. And if you plan to initiate, please remember, avoid starting with your point of view. You need to introduce the entire topic before you come on to your point of view. Allow others to speak. As mentioned, group dynamics is one of the most important things which is being tested through the group discussion. So group discussion is not only about your ideas, sharing your ideas, it is also about listening to others, making other people participate. If you find some non-active participants in the discussion, it's important that you try and involve everybody. Speak clearly, speak sense, speak concise. It has to make sense. Make sure to bring the discussion on track. In certain cases, especially when you are sitting with a group of aggressive people, you would find at times the group starts deviating from the topic. Why? Because everybody is indulged into over participation, and most of the people don't even bother whether the discussion is moving on in the right direction or not. So as a part of the group, as a substantial, as a relevant member of the group, it is your responsibility to get it back on the track. Maintain a positive attitude. Always learn to look at the positive side of the thing. Avoid being pessimistic. Avoid looking at the negative side of the things. Speak sensibly. Listen carefully to others. And as said, allow others to speak. No need to get into much details which might involve a lot of over participation or irrelevant discussion from the other group members. It's important that you maintain formal dressing. That we'll be discussing in detail in the next set of slides. The ways of coping with an aggressive group. How would you react to a group of people which are very aggressive around you? At the end of the group discussion, though we've talked about group dynamics, team spirit and everything, but at the end, trust me, what matters is your own performance, your individual performance. So if you find that you're sitting in a group that is very aggressive, it's very difficult to manage it and they are moving off the track, you should focus on your performance. You should try to make at least 2 impressive entries. And always remember, over participation does not help you. Over speaking is of no help. What matters is, are you able to give substantial contribution to the discussion or not? Group dynamics. It's easy to say group dynamics, but then trust me, it's very difficult. Group dynamics is like a weather that everybody likes talking about, but few really do anything about it. So strategies to enter into the discussion. If you find the group is very aggressive, it's difficult to enter into the discussion, so you should, first of all, try and enter at the troughs. Try to establish link with the previous participant. One of the ways of entering can even be appreciating the other person's point of view and then entering. Adding an example, providing a reasoning to what the previous participant has said, summarizing at the right time. Generally, in most of the discussions, when there are structured discussion, the moderator would initially tell you how much time are you going to be given for the discussion. So it's important that you keep a track at the time limit. Entry through role change, which is very effective. You may try to initiate the discussion. You may try to play the role of the gatekeeper in the discussion. You may try to continue with the other person's point of view. You may try, if needed, countering the point of view of the other people. You may continue with a few examples of what the previous participant has spoken about. You may summarize the discussion. You may conclude the discussion. Keep changing different roles. Though your point of view has to remain the same, the broad idea has to remain the same. Group dynamics and teamwork. Again and again in our session here, we've been emphasizing a lot on group dynamics and teamwork, which is the prime factor to be tested in a group discussion. Try and motivate the inactive members to join in. Increase in the fluidity and interactions in order to increase on the effective communication. Maintain an eye contact with everybody. And at the end, teamwork is definitely the most important thing. So we've come to the end of the session here. I believe we've been able to develop a good understanding of group discussions. We'll continue with group discussions and the other rounds of elimination of PDP in the coming tutorials to come. It was nice interacting with you. Thank you.